Hello once again and welcome back to the shed. I've put together a little video based on what I said in the last video about me and my wife producing face shields for the retirement homes etc. around the local area, where we produced about 200. I didn't realise I'd got so many shots of 3D printers printing. Exciting stuff it is, but it gives a little bit of an insight into the troubles I had with the machines while I was printing. Not all the troubles, because I had plenty, but there's a few shots of a few of the mishaps and such like that went on. I don't know how much is going to be in this video. I might have to split it into two, but we'll see how we go. So without further ado, let the fun commence. There we go, printing the first visor for the I've even forgotten the name of the disease, but the disease that everybody's getting. There's my efforts towards printing out a face mask, a face shield. This is the first one. We'll see how it goes. I might have to make some adjustments, but I think it's going to take about an hour and a half. Protective mask heaven. One in red and two in black. Full production. Yet another set. This time it's printing two face masks at the same time. Unfortunately the printer's running a bit slow and it's taking 8 hours to do two, but they're coming out nice. So the next task tomorrow is to try and get it sorted, get a bit more speed. And this one I can get to go fast, but unfortunately all the filament I've got is years old and it won't run through the job properly. It keeps clogging and messing about. So I've ordered another new roll of PLA. I will try it again. Day two, production's ramping up a bit. This particular machine, it is not what it says. The structure is a Wahoon, but a Wanho, or whatever you call it, but the controller is of my manufacturer and it's Arduino based. It's still the same shell, but the motherboard is different. I bought this machine as a non-runner off eBay, and it was the controller that was causing most of the problems. Although I did buy a second-hand controller for one of these, I was unable to get it to run successfully, or run at all really. So in the end I pulled all the guts out and replaced it with an Arduino based one, and it runs and gives no problems at all now. I've done other modifications to the x-axis, so I can put different, well, the idea is I'll be able to put different heads on it. One thing I wanted to try was a multicolour head, and I've got room on the top for the feeders, and I can thereby put a multicolour J head on it at some time. As for the G-Tech, this has been a very good machine from day one. It's mainly aluminium construction, it's very rigid, and I've never had any problems with this one. It always works spot on. You can even see the first layer there is perfect all the way around. Never get any problems with it, and I've now got it running at 210%, so we're roughly getting one of these head shields, face shields, frames in about 2 hours, just a little over 2 hours. But it's doing 2 at a time and it's stacking them, so the first times it would take to do this is going to take about 4 hours, just over 4 hours now. Before it was taking a little over 7.5 hours, which wasn't a very good rate of production, but we're ramping up now. I don't know if you can see, but this one is quite bitty. There's a lot of what is commonly known as bird, I won't say the word, droppings. It's not a clean print at all. At the moment I'm putting it down to the fact that I'm using old filament, because the filament has apparently a shelf life, and this has been open for several years. But the quality of the print on this Wanho is not as good as the print quality on my G-Tech. It's much tighter, far less bird droppings, much cleaner finish altogether. This one, as you can see there, is quite untidy really, as well as the bits of PLA that's flipped all over the place. The layers are not as consistent, as you can see. The makers of this printer, they've made the outsides of just pressed steel components which are screwed together. That is not a rigid idea. And the other thing that I noticed compared with my G-Tech, pieces like this base plate here are much thinner, and not only that, for some unknown reason, well obviously cost reasons, they've got 2 linear bearings on this side but only 1 on this side, and although it's actuated from the middle of the plate, I tend to think that it's fishtailing because it's only got 1 support on this side. So I suppose the other thing I can do to is try and fit another another support. If you can see under there, yeah, there we are. There's two on this side, but only the one on that side, which seems a bit naff to say the least. You can actually hear the play in it, you can hear it rattling when it starts oscillating, doing some infill, which the other machine doesn't do. It's just not as rigid, and thereby the quality of the print suffers. So we'll have to see what we can do with that one. Well, there's a turn up for the book. I wanted to change the head because the other one was leaking, and I wanted to put a connector so I could change the heated heads. And as I was trying to solder this connector up, and I touched it with my soldering iron, it crashed the whole system, because I had this machine connected to my computer with a USB lead. I also had that one connected with a USB lead, although they're printing off the SD card, and it killed everything dead. That one was about an hour and a half into a print, so I had to set it off again. And I must say, it's exceptional now the way it's printed. Anyway, back to this one. Because they were all connected, why touching a wire with a soldering iron should cause a spike or whatever, I don't know. Anyway, suffice it to say, the controller in here now is brown bread. I don't get any movement on my feeder. I've tried reloading software, and that doesn't look right. So I've got to rebuild it if I want to use it. Also, the soldering iron I touched the lead with, also dead. The soldering iron I've had for about 40 years. Dead. It's only a 25 watt one. So I've got a bit of sorting out to do now. No idea what caused that, but I'm not that clever, so just another one of those things. Right, after a lot of work, in fact it took me a week, I've got the one hole going. I had a lot of trouble with the sketches, the code for marling, getting one that would work on this printer. There were mechanical problems, but eventually it is now running like a trooper. Doing a very clean print, and in 36 minutes it's built 4.18 millimeters of this head shield. All that time my G-Tech has been ploughing on, doing about 6 a day. So now we've doubled production and we should be up to 12 a day. Wow, what a struggle. That's a shot of the new controller I put in. It's Arduino Mega 2560 with a Ramps 1.4 board on the top of it, and that is how I eventually got it going. What took me a lot of time was this board. This is a GT 2560, and what it is an Amiga and the Ramps board combined in one board. I bought it some time ago, and I thought I'd get it going for this machine after spiking it before. But hours and hours of searching through the code, I got it on. It would power the LCD screen. The only thing I couldn't get working was the encoder push button. The encoder wheel would work, but you couldn't select anything by pushing the button, because when you press the button you get a menu which you can use the encoder wheel to scroll through. But that press of the encoder button switch did not work. I couldn't find any reference in the code to it other than setting the number of clicks of the encoder, and the number of menu items it scrolls through per click. That's all there was reference. So after days of trying to get this one going, I can only conclude that it's got a fault on it, because I've tried every LCD screen I've got 3, and I couldn't get anything working with it. So I had to revert to just a Arduino Mega and a Ramps board. That is now working perfectly well. I had a few problems with end stop connections that got me going, because I didn't build this machine. As I say, I bought it as a non-runner and repaired it. But the thing I'd forgotten about was the limit switches on this one. The machine I built, they were all normally open and closed on contact. This was normally closed and opened on contact, and I didn't realise I'd forgotten. Anyway, we sorted that out and got it to home, and away it goes now. Champion. So, for some reason this did not work. Just that one thing. Everything else perfect. Just that one thing. So as I say, it leads me to believe there's a fault on the board. And the original boards that came with this GTEC were these this Metz or Melzi board. I'm going to read that. Different style altogether, but it is an all-in-one. But this one that came with the printer, the X-axis wasn't working, and they don't. You can't flash the software through the USB port like you can with an Arduino. You have to do it through an ISP, which is there on the end, those 6 pins. And I still couldn't get it to do that, so I give up with that. So that's what we've been up to for a week.